The wonders of the GameCube. What a beautiful piece of Nintendo's history. Let's hope that we can go back to a time where games weren't $5 million. But anyways, today I'm going to be fixing my old GameCube controller. The stick is broken and my dreams are shattered, but I will not let it get me down because today I'm going to be fixing it and I'm going to be painting it, as well as talking a little bit about the artistry behind GameCube controller mods, even though all I'm doing is fixing the stick, which is not really a mod. So lately I've been playing a lot of Melee, just with my friends, not competitively or anything, but I looked into a lot of controllers and what people use for Melee and stuff like that, and there is like tons and tons of mods that people do to their GameCube controllers, or like buy a controller that's like $400 just because of Melee, which is crazy. Like snapback capacitors. Essentially, it's a piece of hardware that's in the controller that accounts for the amount of snapback that the stick has when you just let go of the stick, and then it can snap back the other direction. And if you're playing a game like Melee, you want to be really precise with your ledge grabs and everything. So there's an aesthetic side, custom shells, clear buttons, LED lights, hand-painted finishes, which I'm going to be doing, and it makes them almost akin to like a Gundam or something. Each controller kind of tells you something new about the person who owns it. Some are built for precision, some for a flex, some are minimal, some are loud. So for me, adding my art into a controller would be something cool for me. You also got notches. Like some people file these little notches in their controller instead of just having the regular shape that the notches in the regular GameCube controller have, to allow for more precise wave dashing, which is crazy. But I guess helpful. It looks pretty weird if you really look at it, but yeah, those are kind of the main mods. But what I'm going to be doing today is not really any of that. If you look at what I'm doing here, I'm just putting some images together on my GameCube controller. I wanted to do a Pikmin inspired piece here. You know, I've actually never played a Pikmin game, but I've seen clips of Pay Money Wubby just ravaging a whole town of Pikmin or whatever, and it's really funny. I also play Olimar in Brawl, so he's cool. He's a funny looking guy, much like me, so we have a lot in common in that way. So I decided to make a Pikmin controller, and the designs of the Pikmin are really cool, and they're just little cute guys that would make sense just anywhere on the controller, so I thought it would fit. And I'm gonna paint, I think, the outer shell and the inner shell one color. I don't really want to paint over the Nintendo GameCube logo, but I might. I'm not sure. Man, where do I start fixing this stick, man? Stickman? Anyways, I took apart the whole controller. I had to buy this Y-prong screwdriver because Nintendo just loves their fans and can't have a fucking normal screw. They have to have this stupid Y thing, and I have to buy another screwdriver that I have, and then I'm gonna have a million fucking screwdrivers. It's really awesome. Yeah, so I took this whole thing apart. I actually lubed the springs as well. I probably should have clipped them because I've heard people do that as well for Smash to make the travel time shorter, but I just lubed them. And I get to the stick, and the actual part that sticks out that goes into the nub is broken off inside of the elliptical part of the motherboard, like the actual part that is the mechanics of the stick. And basically what I had to do is, eventually I got a little piece of brass and I cut it off, and I had to completely destroy my other controller, my fake GameCube controller, and use that stick. So I jimmy rig that, eventually get it to work. I super glue it together. It's all in there. And if this stick breaks, I'm gonna have to get a whole new part for this. But anyway, so it was sticking. The stick was actually up too high, and it was pressing against the outer shell, and I couldn't go back. I couldn't get rid of the glue and like unglue it and shit because it was solidly in there. So I had to take an X-Acto blade and slightly carve out inside of where the stick sits on the outer shell of the controller, and then eventually it stops sticking, and it works perfectly fine now, and it's way better than before. And I replaced the stick, and it's not all chewed up and gross and yellow anymore. So It's great. The painting portion of this video is way more enjoyable though, just because, you know, it's what I like to do. First of all, I took everything apart again, scuffed up the shell, and then I was thinking of colors to use, and I'm like, I decided on this nice green. I thought that was cool, and I was gonna use my airbrush, but I haven't used it in a while, and I'm kind of like unfamiliar with it right now, and my airbrush compressor is like kind of ass, so I ended up just painting it by hand. So with the whole Pikmin idea, I think the hand-painted aesthetic lends itself better than something that's more crisp and clean. That's why I decided to go with it. But yeah, I think it almost looks like claymation if you look at some of the newer games. I was referencing a lot for the different Pikmin designs and stuff. So I ended up adding some eyeballs onto the controller as well, and I didn't smooth them out very much. I kept them kind of lumpy a little bit. I masked off the part so it looks like the big fat purple Pikmin, and then I added a little red one on there. Olimar's in the middle there, and his nose is the start button, so whenever you press start, you're booping Olimar's nose, and I think that's pretty funny. I just came up with that on the fly. I kind of just didn't even reference the thing I did on, like, digitally. I just kind of freeballed it. And also, the antenna that's on Olimar's head goes up into the cable of the GameCube. The green is supposed to be kind of like grass. Looking at it now, if I added more white, it'd look like a Buzz Lightyear controller, which would also be funny. But the Pikmin idea was good because of all the different colored buttons, like the C-Stick's yellow, the red and the green. And I added little flowers or like dots that can be interpreted as flowers or maybe other Pikmin that are in the ground. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. I learned a lot from this. Like, this isn't something I normally do. Were to do it again, I'd probably use a way lighter sandpaper because the one I used was really aggressive. It's just the only one I had, so it was like close to me, so I'm like, I'll just use this one. But kind of a mistake. Also, I would get my airbrush working better, and I could do some cool fades and stuff. I could have got crazier with it. I also could have incorporated my more painterly kind of stuff. Like, if you look at the Dark and Darker video, I did that skeleton. Like, I could have done something really painterly and cool, but I decided to keep it cute and simple because, you know, it's Pikmin. I was just thinking, you know, keep it simple because it's something I haven't done before, and that's a good lesson, you know. If you're doing something new, try and go within your means, work your way up from there with future projects, because then you don't really get discouraged. I find, for me anyways. But other times I do bite off more than I can chew, but then sometimes you end up feeling disappointed. So I think this is a good way to dip my toes into the custom GameCube controller scene. And once again, thank you for 500 subscribers. That is dope as hell. And this is kind of a shorter video, like a little one. I got something bigger coming, so stay tuned for that. It's also magic related. So, bye.